Welcome everybody to yet another video. My name is Arden and you are watching YA Book Princess. In today's video, we are doing the mid-year freakout tag. I did this tag last year and so I thought I would do it again this year. However, I've been struggling when picking out books to talk about because my reading year this year is strange. It's weird. It's all over the place. I am not reading the books that most people would hear of. I don't really have a pattern of reading. There were a lot of DNFs. So it's been a journey. And without further ado, let's just get right into it. First question is best book you've read in 2021. For me, I have to go with In 27 Days. This was originally on Wattpad. It has been highly recommended to me, really hyped, talked about. When I first picked this book up, I just fell in love with it. I thought the writing was good. I thought this paranormal aspect of it was well done. There was a little bit of a mystery. There was a little bit of a tension. Would our main character be able to save this boy's life? Essentially what this book talks about is Hadley Jamieson, who finds out that one of her classmates, one of the people that she knows, not personally, not well enough, but she knows of, had committed suicide. And she makes a deal with death and has 27 days to figure out how to save him and convince him not to do it. So she travels back 27 days in time to the moment when he decided that he is going to off himself. And essentially this book is just a roller coaster of emotions. I did cry when reading this book. When I finished it, I just felt empty. I felt sad. I wanted more, and I immediately wanted to reread this book. I read it in such a short period of time and it deserves the hype. It deserves the best book title of 2021, at least so far. And if you haven't read it yet, I do recommend you to pick it up. Question number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2021. That would have to be the second book to the Mount trilogy by Megan March. It is called Defiant Queen. I did talk about it in one of my wrap-ups, and this was the best sequel I've read and my favorite trilogy I read in February. I got the first book for free, liked it enough to go buy the second book, and I loved the second book, and then I bought the third book, which I didn't like. I personally thought it was a little bit repetitive, but the second book was incredible. I just loved it. I'm not into mafia romance books, but this just convinced me somehow. I don't know why. It's just, there's something to it. And the way the characters develop from the first book to the third, it makes sense. There's been just kind of like a steady development of characters and the plot that has started from the beginning of the first book, and then towards the third book, the end of the third book, we just tie up all loose ends, and I really enjoyed it. I guess if you need a comparison to it, I would say 50 Shades of Grey is one book that reminds me, is one trilogy that reminds me of this trilogy. I don't know why. We've got a very rich guy, but the point with this one is that our main character's husband passes away and she finds out that he owes money to this rich guy. So this rich guy decides that he's going to take her until the debt is paid off. Yeah, it was problematic. I'm not gonna say it's not. I don't agree with everything in this trilogy, but I still find it enjoyable. I still liked it all the same, but I do have to point out that it is problematic. Just the whole premise of mafia romances I find extremely problematic. Sometimes you just gotta enjoy a book without thinking too much about it. So question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. I don't currently follow the new releases. I never do. I like to follow the books that are widely talked about for a period of time before I do purchase them. And I'm currently on a book buying ban, which means I'm not following any new releases. I'm not on social media. I'm just in my own bubble, and whatever I see, I see. But the one release that I do want to read that has been released recently, fairly recently, is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout. I think this is the book that everybody has been raving about, and I do want to give it a try, but I'm a little bit intimidated and I don't own it as of yet, so maybe in the future. Question number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Like I said, I don't follow recent releases, new releases. I don't know what books are going to be out. I also don't like following that because by the time they're out in my country, it's gonna be a while. It takes a while for the books to arrive, and so I don't want to set myself up for failure. I don't want to feel the excitement and then have all that excitement vanished by the time the books arrive here. I'm also not ordering anything online, so yeah, I'm not following any books. Question number 5 is biggest disappointment. And let me just say, I've had this book on my TBR since I believe 2013, and it is one of the OG YAs. It's what I count as an OG YA because at the time when I just started as a reader and when I just came into this community, I saw this book everywhere, and it's been out for a while, but I wanted to read it. I wanted to see what the hype was about. And that book is Paranormalcy by Kirsten White. I expected a lot more from this. I ended up rating it 3 stars. This is just about this girl who was adopted by this agency because she is able to see through glamour. She is able to see creatures such as vampires, werewolves, fairies, shapeshifters as they are. She is able to see through all the pretenses, all the magic, and that makes her special. There is so much going on. Like, there is this, not really a conspiracy theory, but things just aren't as they seem. The world that she knows of, the agency that she works for, it just isn't what she thinks it is. And as the veil drops and she starts seeing things for what they are, I think there is so much potential in the further books. The second book is Supernaturally and the third book is Endlessly. I do have both of those as well, and I do plan on reading them. I think there is so much potential, but this book just did not deliver. I thought that there was no resolution towards the end. The plot twist or the build-up just wasn't as exciting or thrilling as I thought it would be. I genuinely thought this was gonna keep me at the edge of my seat a little bit more than it did, but I ended up being a bit bored. So I rated it 3 stars, and the only reason why this is the biggest disappointment, it's by far not the lowest rating that I've given a book this year, but the reason why this book is on this list is because my expectations were too high. I went into this with high expectations, which I don't often have, except I don't know why, for OGYA books, and those always end up disappointing me somehow because so much time has passed and usually books just don't stand the test of time. At least not ones that were published 2009, 2010, early 2000s to 2010, you know? So it's made me really sad, and yeah, here we are. I made myself iced tea and it is delicious. Next question is biggest surprise. I will have to say the biggest surprise of 2021 so far has been Wool by Hugh Howey. I have been dreading picking this book up because it's massive. It's over 560 pages. It has quite a small font. Personally, I've just had it on my bookshelf for ages. And when I have a book for a long time on my bookshelf, I just end up skipping it. I don't tend to see it anymore after a while, and I don't get excited about it. This initially was an impulse buy. When I went to a bookstore, I saw this cover and I thought, wow, this is amazing. I'm gonna buy all 3 books. And I did. And I didn't know what they were about. I just wanted to have them on my shelf. And I don't think even back then I thought I would ever pick this book up. I just wanted to have them, you know, but I did pick it up, and I am so grateful and happy that I did buy these books because they're amazing. Wool is a collection of 5 books, and this separation of 5 books makes sense. I think I filmed a video on this and it's gonna be on my channel somewhere, but I also filmed a separate video for this book as well that is not gonna be out for months. Even though it's massive, I read it in a few days. I was a little bit hesitant at first because the intimidation is real. It's real. And the fact that it was branded the next Hunger Games by Sunday Times just made me a little bit, is it gonna be good? Am I ready for a dystopian book? Because essentially what this book is about, it's about this world, dystopian world, where the air outside is no longer breathable. You are not able to go outside without protection, without wearing a suit, because it's just so toxic. People decided to build underground cities where they have essentially their government. Each person has their job, has a role, and these cities have levels and levels and levels. And it takes days for people from lower levels to get to the higher levels because they have to just walk up the stairs, and it's a lot. And the people who run this silo is what they're called. The people who run the silo are at the top. So the most important people are at the top, so that those who are at the bottom are essentially mechanics. They are essential to the work that needs to be done. And if there was ever a rebellion, the people who are at the top can just cut the people at the bottom off and they would be fine. You know, this has some bits about politics, shutting down rebellions. There is a lot of action in this book. There is a build-up to a war or rebellion. There is deceit, there are mind games, murder, adventure. It all plays so nicely into this collection. I would say all 5 books make sense. Every single book, or the first 3 books, are from a different point of view, and then as we go to the last 2 books, we get more point of views from other characters because they're needed due to what's happening. I couldn't be happier that I picked this book up this year, even though it took me such a long time, and even when I unwrapped it from my wrap TBR that I no longer have. By the way, if you've not checked out my other videos, I don't have a wrap TBR anymore. When I unwrapped this book, I didn't want to read it, but I did. I pushed myself to read it, and now that I have, I really want to continue with the second book, which is Shift, and the third book is Dust. The next question is favorite new author, and genuinely I've not read many books by the same author except for the Mount trilogy, which I did read in the span of a week. I read all 3 books in the span of a week. I don't think though that Megan March is my auto-buy author or my new favorite author. I just like this trilogy, and if I do give more of her books a try, maybe Megan March will be my new favorite author. There genuinely this year is just not an author that I would call my auto-buy favorite author, because I have to try out more books by that author for it to be my favorite author. Moving on, we have newest fictional crush. I used to get so many fictional crushes in the previous years. Like I was obsessed with Will Herondale, Jace Herondale maybe. I was obsessed with Damon from the Lux series. I was obsessed with Patch from Hush Hush, Bad Boys, you know. Since then, I don't think I've ever encountered a fictional crush. I'm also reading, obviously, Game of Thrones. I'm currently 254 pages in. I'm reading it in Slovenian. This is how far I came. And I'm strictly speaking from the TV show watcher perspective, because I've not read yet this book in full. But my fictional crush currently, because I'm reading this book, is Daenerys Targaryen. Like, we all love her, or at least I did. I loved Daenerys in the TV show. My favorite character. I just rooted for her and her dragons. But in this book, oh my god, is it problematic. I didn't realize it's gonna be this problematic. Daenerys is essentially 13 years old and she gets sold off, I mean exchanged for a throne, for a promise of a throne, at 13 years old. And then to consummate the marriage, she has to sleep with Khal Drogo, who is older than her, but she is 13 years old. I don't think at no point in this book is she older than 14. Yeah, but Daenerys, she's my fictional crush. I love her in the TV show, and I'm hoping the character development in the books is the same, except towards the end of the show. I'm just hoping that George R. Martin doesn't throw all that character development away. I think she's just so strong and wise and empowering and just badass all around. So I think apart from the ones that we've covered, I don't have a newest favorite character, but if I am to talk about another book, let's just say that I love Diana and Matthew in this book. A Discovery of Witches, again, one of my favorites. Just love them two together. I love how she just inspires me to keep learning, keep growing, to not give up. And yeah, this book inspired me to go back to school all those years ago when I first read it. And when I picked this book up, even though it's massive, I flew through it in a few days, and this is my comfort read. Because again, a lot of people, since it's so popular, a lot of people expect a lot and don't end up liking it. But this is one of those books that doesn't have a huge plot twist. It doesn't have this build up towards a plot twist, but it's just a steady action, steady storytelling, and it's not like one major plot twist and then the resolve. I guess nothing essentially, it doesn't follow the typical story structure. It's just nice to know what to expect and to read it when I'm feeling anxious, because there's nothing that's gonna be shocking. The next question is book that made you cry. In 27 Days, which I have already mentioned. One book that I would have to say that I don't currently have with me right now is Knowing Me by Delphine de Vigan. I did end up rating it 3 stars because it's a very, very heavy book, in my opinion. It talks about homelessness and women particularly being homeless. It made me cry because it's so heavy, and it made me anxious a little bit. Actually quite a lot. But I unhauled it and gave it to my friend because I cannot have it around me. It's just heavy. Next question is book that made you happy, and that is You Should See Me in the Crown by Leah Johnson. This book is just so wholesome, it's so sweet, it's so lovely, it's so cute. It is the definition of a hug, and I absolutely adore it. I think I did rate it 5 stars, and I read this for Queer No Fear readathon, and this was the only physical book that I read for the Queer No Fear readathon at the time, and I'm just so happy that I got to pick it up. It's been a really fast read. I think I read it in like a day or in a few hours. I wish we had more wholesome books like this. Even though it does discuss heavier topics, it just ends up tying everything nicely together towards the end, and the characters are so cute, the romance is cute, and yeah, I'm really happy I read it. Next question is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I didn't buy any books this year. I didn't. I am on a book buying ban. However, I did buy 2 bullet journals. One of them is this one. It is white. It's so cute. And the next one is this one. And I'm going to be using them towards next year, I think in 2020 or 2021. In 2022 or 2023 as my reading journals. And the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I really don't want to answer this question because I'm just gonna feel the pressure. But let me tell you about the books I want to read in the future, not by the end of the year. I'm not setting any boundaries, I'm not setting any goals, because that is gonna stress me out. The books that I want to read are Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, The Queen of the Killing by Erica Johansson, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas as well, but I don't currently have it. It is with my sister in Ireland. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I am 70 pages into this one, and I put it down last year because I hated it, but I want to give it a chance. Supernaturally by Kirsten White. This is the sequel to Paranormalcy. I want to finish this series. Dreamless by Josephine Angelini, the second book to Star-Crossed by Josephine Angelini. A reread, which is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. This is the second book in the All Souls trilogy, the second book to A Discovery of Witches. And this is the last book that I did read. I do need to read the third one. Then I want to continue with my reread of Twilight. This is New Moon in Slovenian. Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters, again, another reread that I want to get through because I did start the first book last year. Empire of Storms by Sarah J Maas, because I did read the ones before this book and I've been stuck in this book for years. Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a thick one. Incarcerum by Catherine Fisher. Cinderella is Dead by Kayleen Bayron. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Ray Carson. These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Aragon by Christopher Paolini. Sister Sister by Sue Fortin. The Poppy War by R.F. Kwong. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And the last one I have to mention is Winter by Marissa Meyer. This is the last book that I have to read in this series. I've been putting it off for over 5 years, ever since its release, which was in 2015, so 6 years now. And that concludes this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you like these kinds of bookish videos or bookish discussions, let me know. It was fun doing this with you. I'll see you next time. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And don't forget to click the notification bell to keep yourself notified when I post more videos. I hope everybody has a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!